5, 4, 3, 2. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to Clap Back Live, campaign strategies for Black women in 15 minutes or less. We are not going to be here long, but we are going to try to offer some great advice, especially to those Black women who are thinking about running for office. My name is Holly Holiday, and I'm the president of Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote. We help to expand the voices of Black women in politics and in their leadership. We want to make sure that Black women are heard everywhere. We think whether you're laying the groundwork to run for office or be appointed to an office, whether it's in 1 year or 2 years, or even in the next cycle, you need to have a clear strategy. And that strategy starts by working backwards from election day. And in fact, let's just be clear. It's important to both have a plan and work a plan. Over the next couple of weeks, about 8 weeks or so, we're going to be right here every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, offering little tidbits of help to ensure that you are doing everything you can to run a campaign that allows you to not only be present in your campaign, but to combat what will be the anticipated racism and sexism comes along with being a Black woman running for office in this country. And you will be prepared to combat that and thus win. We're going to start today really talking about what it takes to be ready to run. These are things that we recommend that you consider anywhere from 9 to 18 months out from election day. That's right. I said 18 months. We're in the process of doing research and categorizing and cataloging Black women's experiences as they run. And one of the things that we consistently hear is start early. Understanding that you're interested in running for office or interested in pursuing a leadership position doesn't necessarily mean that you announce it to the world, but there are some key things that you should be doing to be prepared to run. First off, let's start with why you are even interested in leadership, why you're running. Be honest and be clear. Be clear with yourself and with your family. Recognize the why. The why is going to be important. And I promise you, once you announce to other people, it's going to be the number one question that you get asked on the campaign trail. Why are you running? So be really clear and concise as you can about that. Second, be honest with yourself about how much time it will take to run a campaign and prepare your life to be inundated with campaigning. If you are, the larger the office is that you're running for, meaning, and when I say large, I'm here talking about the number of voters that you need to reach. The more voters that you need to reach, the more time you need to plan for your campaign. On average, if you're running for, say, a state rep or city council or something that is in a district, especially an in-district, you can look at spending a minimum of 30 hours a week on your campaign. So that means you need to figure out how to both spend that time on the campaign, make sure that you're managing everything that you might be doing in your personal life, and for many of us, also holding down a job or some type of employment. And so having a plan is essential. Well, let's face it, as Black women, we know how to juggle. And so this is one of the reasons why Black women make such excellent candidates. But be aware and be conscientious that during that campaign time, particularly that time once you start raising money, that it is going to take a considerable amount of time. And for many, if your district is quite large, or if the area that you're running in is quite large, it could be a full-time job. So you need to make sure that you've thought about how you're going to spend your time. Next, and probably this should have been first, talk to your family and friends. Let me just say this, and I say it all the time. Campaigns are a team sport, and that frontline team starts with your close friends and family. Make sure you talk to them. Make sure you have a clear understanding of how they're going to interact with the campaign, whether they're going to be a direct part of the campaign and maybe helping you and going with you to campaign events, working on the campaign, going door to door, spending weekends and evenings, or maybe their role is going to be more behind the scenes and taking up some of the slack in areas around family, or maybe working so that you can have time off. Figure out exactly what the role of your family and friends will be before the campaign gets started. As important as it is for you to have a campaign plan for your actual campaign, it's just as important for you to have a plan with your family and friends. And by the way, this includes how you're going to be managing those community responsibilities. Maybe you're a part of a sorority like I am, or maybe you're part of a civic group and you hold an office. You don't want to shirk one thing for the next. So just be sure that you're thinking very clearly about how you're going to spend your time, and that you're talking to your close family and friends about their role in your campaign. Next, let's talk about the money. Campaigns cost money. And so you should be prepared to think about not only how you're going to fund your campaign and how much money you're going to need. And trust me, in upcoming lives, we're going to spend a lot of time talking about that. But you should also be prepared to spend some time thinking about how you're going to pay your own bills. If you're spending all of this time running for office, how's your rent going to get paid, or your mortgage? How's daycare going to get taken care of? How are some of those other expenses that you might have for yourself personally, which cannot be paid from the campaign money? How are they going to get covered, and how are you going to make sure that they're taken care of? The other thing that you should think about is you want to make sure that you're financially prepared. Maybe you're going to be living off your savings for a little while, or maybe you need to save up, and what that number looks like. But you also want to make sure that you have paid all of your taxes. And particularly, you want to make sure that you've paid your taxes in the district or related to the district that you're running in. You don't want to be running for school board and not have paid your property taxes, knowing that in many jurisdictions, property taxes is exactly how schools make their money. So you don't want to be a person who hasn't been fiscally responsible. The next thing I would offer is consider the politics of the position that you seek. Who's running now? Is it going to be you're running against an incumbent, which is a person who's already holding the office, who makes re-election, and you'll be a challenger? Maybe the person who was in the office is not going to run again, and it's going to be an open seat. Maybe it's going to be an unexpired term because the person who was previously in the office could not fulfill their whole term. Think about the politics of the situation and understand what you're getting yourself into, and connect the politics of the situation back to your why. Make it make sense. Every open position, every available opportunity may not be the correct or right opportunity for you, especially if it doesn't connect back to why you're running for office in the first place. It is critical, and I do mean critical, for you to be connected and aligned to why you're running for office, the opportunity that you're seeking, the finances that you have, that your friends and family are in line and in order and behind you, that you have thought about the time that it's going to take to run your campaign. And then finally, plan for all election outcomes. That's right, all election outcomes. And I would say back in the day when I first started running campaigns more than 20 years ago, most of the time we were planning for either to win or to lose, or both. But nowadays, you might also need to be prepared for a little thing called a runoff, because we're seeing more and more of those runoffs happening every single year. So you may need to not only be planning for the current election you're working in, but the one after that, and dare I say, the one after that. So think about what you're going to do no matter what the outcome is. Have a plan for what happens if you're in a runoff. Have a plan for what happens should you lose. And most importantly, have a plan for what happens when you win. And all of these things, and the reason that we're doing these lives in the first place is that we want to make sure that when you are running, that you are thinking about who you are, that who you are is front and center. As a Black woman, you will face challenges. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I would say, being Black and being a female are immutable characteristics. And so people will see and judge you through that lens. The question is, you get to control how they see you and what they see. And they're going to judge that by the words that you use, by the behaviors, by the resources that you spend. And so you got to be conscientious about all of those things and make sure that you have a plan. So that's our topic for today, making sure you are ready to run. We want to start with the why are you running? Make sure you are honest and clear. Be sure that you have thought about the time that it takes to spend on your campaign. Make sure you have a clear and honest conversation and have defined roles for your family and friends. Consider your personal finances so that you can make it not only through the campaign serving, because many of these elected offices really don't pay very much, that you are thinking about the politics of the position, and that those politics align with your core objective of why you are running. And then my final piece of advice and thought for the day is consider and plan for all elections outcomes, whether that be a runoff, whether it be a loss, and more importantly, and the most important thing, especially when it is a win. My name is Holly Holiday. I'm the president of Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote. We're going to be doing these wonderful tips and campaign strategies for Black women in 15 minutes or less every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. This is being broadcast across our Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube channels, and you can find these archived in those same locations. We'll also be doing a few clips. Along the way, we'll take some questions. So if you have thoughts about things you'd like for us to discuss, things you want us to go deeper on, campaign queries that have come to your mind, please feel free to drop us a line at clapback@sistersleadsistersvote.org. This is part of our Clapback Academy, which is our training for setting the record straight for Black women running for political office. We will be back here next Thursday at 6 p.m. live for 15 minutes or less of campaign strategies for Black women. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us on Clapback Live. We will be right back here next Thursday at 6 p.m. Bring a friend.